Hi again everyone, how's all doing? So what have I got here? This is a Hornby T9 locomotive that's been sent to me by George. As you can see, it's in a state of disrepair, shall we say. Can't shove this into the shed, so it's a direct to the bench job, this one. Bit of a story to this. It accidentally got dropped in its storage box and the local body and the motor mount got broken. Now, George has been able to fix the body, but after a few emails between him and Hornby, they advised sending it to them for assessment for repair. So he duly did that. A wee while later, he got the locomotive back from Hornby, stating that it was beyond economic repair, which I think was Hornby's way of saying, we don't have the part, I can't be bothered dealing with this, please buy a new model. On receipt of the locomotive, George also found that the front bogie was broken. Now, I know a lot of you would probably, get straight back onto Hornby blaming them for the breakage, but to a large extent, you send these things via the post at your own risk, and you get nowhere with Hornby on that issue, believe me. Anyway, George found a replacement motor mount from good old Peter Spares, and then got in touch with me and asked if I could do what Hornby couldn't. So couldn't resist that challenge, and I haven't worked on a T9 before. As you can see, George has partially disassembled it, and this is how it came to me, but it was well packaged. So let's see if we can get this sorted for George and show Hornby how it's done. Right, okay, let's get a look at this. Very nice looking locomotive, I have to say, and a very nice looking model. Some really nice cab detail in there. So it'll be, yeah, I'm very keen to get this back up and running again. I do like Southern locomotives. Southern's just not something I would run on my layout, but they do have some very, very pretty locomotives, it has to be said. So the body seems okay, so we'll put that to one side. The tender seems okay. Got a brake rod that's popped out there. Other than that, that seems okay. So the front bogie is broken. This stem has broken off, and also the pickups are a bit mangled. It might be possible to glue that stem back on, but trying to get it through that hole without breaking it again would be very difficult. I think it'd have to be glued through the hole in the chassis. I think a better idea would be to drill a small hole where the stem joined onto the bogie chassis there, and fit a screw like that into there, because that screw will fit through there nicely. Once we get the spring in there, maybe a wee washer, I think that'll sort that. But yeah, the pickups are well and truly mangled on these wheels there. They're okay on the front ones, but those ones need a little attention. But the main issue is this broken motor mount. It's going to be a bit of a fiddle because there's a wire goes through the hole in the middle of it. I haven't seen a brass motor mount like this before. The gears go in there. That's the gears there. So they need cleaned up, re-lubricated. But that is the replacement bracket. So what do we do first? Do we fix the motor or do we fix the bogie? I'm tempted to fix the bogie first so it's not flopping about all the time. But it'll be okay like that just now. Let's get these gears cleaned up and then we can see if we can remount the motor. Give the gears a good scoosh with contact cleaner. And give them a bit of a going over with a manky brush just to get all the dried grease out. We'll give that a wee scoosh out as well. Get some silicone grease into there. Pop the gear in and get some oil onto there. Now what state is the worm gear in? We'll give it a wee scoosh. Get a nice big dollop of silicone grease in there. So I can now get that mount back into position, hopefully. Now I need to try and get this bracket out and then try and fit the new one. So I'm going to have to desolder that wire. Right, this could be going to be a bit iffy. There we go, that's now disconnected. So now I can lift out the broken bracket, like so. So you can see where it's been broken off there. The motor's held in there and there would have been a screw going through. I would imagine that is the said screw there. So the new one, let's have a look. Now, Peter Spares does say that this needs a bit of filing. This is actually metal. Not quite sure what metal it is, if it's brass or phosphor bronze or what, but yeah. So we'll need to get rid of this. I think we might have to use the rotary tool for that. Get rid of that, or the bulk of it anyway. I think we're going to have to do some filing. It's good that this is metal actually, so it means it's not going to break again, because that, I mean, looking at that closely, is actually full of cracks. You know, that's just not robust enough to hold the motor in. Yeah, doesn't quite fit. So I might need to do a bit more filing on this. Okay, so I've had to do an awful lot of filing on this replacement bracket. These little lugs here basically weren't the right size. I've had to reduce them down a bit. The hole through there that fits on the back of the motor, I've had to enlarge that a little bit. I've had to cut off the sprue at the bottom, and also the hole for the fixing screw I've had to elongate a little bit because it's the hole's not quite in the right position. Basically this is too small, but Peter Spares does say that, and that it will need filing to fit. So yeah, fun and games. Right, okay, however, I think it'll fit now. So I'm going to re-grease this worm gear because I've been fiddling about with this motor. And then we will fit that on the back and then try and get this into position without that bracket falling off. And I've got to slide that mount forward to engage it with the chassis. Right, okay. I'm replacing the fixing screw. The other one was a bit stripped. This has got a much better head on it, so hopefully this will hold it. That's in there. Hold it all together. Right, so the motor's firmly in place and the gears are engaged. So there we go, the motor has been remounted. So that's certainly an awful lot better, you know, having that metal bracket. I think it's phosphor bronze, an awful lot better than the original plastic one, which from what I've read online just seems to disintegrate, and certainly, you know, that one was all cracked. So right, now I've got to try and solder this wire back onto the motor terminal, which wouldn't be difficult itself, but I'm going to have to watch I don't melt any of these wires. I'll hold it in position with the tweezers. Bingo, first time. So I think what we'll do is connect up the tender, just temporarily if I can. Of course, there's not much wriggle room here, and then we'll see if this actually works before I do anything else, because it wouldn't surprise me if there's a broken wire or something in here. You know, these wires have been severely wiggled about and they're so small, so I just want to make sure that the thing actually works. Make sure we've got the bogey the right way around. Right, does this work at all? Yes, it does. Sort of. It's a bit juddery. But I think once we get the front bogey sorted, hopefully be okay. We've also got the rods are quite bent as well, so we'll sort that out. But at least we know that electrically it works. Just going to pull this plug again. Like so. And then we'll see about fixing this front bogey. But it's beer o'clock, so I'll get back to this tomorrow. Okay, so next day, let's see if we can sort this bogey out. Pickups are pretty mangled, but hopefully they'll bend back into position okay. Ideally, I'd like to be able to get these pickups out so I could get a proper counter bend on it, but I don't think that's easily done. A daft design. So I'll just have to see if we can get them into a shape that'll work. Yeah, I think that's better. Right, okay. We want to drill a hole in the middle of that bogey frame. Now let's self-tap at that. I think it might, you know. I think it might. Right, okay, where's that wee spring? That spring in position. A wee bit black tack on the end of this screwdriver just to hold this screw in place. Right, I need to pull these wires through a bit, like so. But there we go, there's the front bogey fixed, I think. So, I need to tidy these wires up a wee bit. I'm having trouble getting the chassis up against the body. Not quite sure why. Oh, hang on, that wire's in the way. It's a bit more like it. Just straighten these rods out a bit. Get this into the sponge. I'll connect this drawbar up. So that'll then hook through there. It's one of those drawbar connections that just hooks on. I'll plug this in. Right, so on the test track, nothing. So as you can see there, it didn't work, which was a bit of a puzzle because it was working yesterday. So I thought, well, the only thing I've done really today is fix the front bogey, so there's something going on there. And turns out when I drilled the hole into the bogie frame here, I actually drilled through metal for the pickups, and putting the metal screw down through it caused a short circuit once the screw came into contact with the metal part of the chassis here. So I thought, oh, well, maybe I could try a plastic screw or something, but I just backed the screw off a bit. So I think what's happened, the screw's gone through some metal, and just backing the screw off, it's I think that'll do it. Let's just test it on the track. This better work. There we go. That's better. We'll maybe try and fit these brake rods on. That was actually broken. Never mind. Right, let's try this again. Okay, I think we're done. Let's go and pull it out the shed and give it a run round the layout. Okay then, out she comes. So there we are, that's this Hornby T9 back together and running again. Yeah, very fiddly job getting that bracket to fit, and then actually fitting the motor in place with all the wires in the way wasn't very easy. The front bogie caught me out. I didn't realise the pickups, the metal of the pickups extended into near the middle of the bogie frame. So I ended up creating a short circuit when I fitted that screw, which had me scratching my head for a bit, but yeah, just backing off the screw sorted that out. But yeah, it's a very nice looking locomotive, but not the best design model, it has to be said. I don't like the way the motor is mounted, and the wires just seem to be crammed in. There's a lot of potential failure in this model. A better motor with a flywheel would make a huge difference to this model, I think, because the slow running isn't that great. But she runs quite nicely otherwise, and with those big traction tyres on the front drive wheels, this will pull a decent load, I think. So, yes, anyway, pleased to get this back together and to do what Hornby couldn't. So I'll get this packed up and sent back to George. Catch you later, folks.